Hi guys, the Martini Drafter here today, and today we're going to be going through our Week 8 team builder for the Noob Draft League Glowpoke division. Last week was, to say the very least, rough. It was a rough battle, getting 6-0'd by a Clefable. Fair play to my opponent there, they outplayed me. I did not bring physical Cobalion or Celesteela when I really should have. My mistake, they brought the one Pokemon that I didn't think they were going to bring. It's just how it goes sometimes, but I'm hoping we can get a win back on this one, because this time it's a thing of pride. Because I refuse to lose to a team that is known as the Unova Union, who has both my favourite Pokemon and my least favourite Pokemon. This is a thing of, I need to prove that I am the superior Unova-obsessed person. So their coach is called Shitty Ass. That's what they go by on Discord, probably not their real name, I wouldn't assume it is. So we'll actually just start going through their team. First off, we got Victini. Victini, unsurprisingly, very scary. Victini, pretty terrifying. It's a legend. It's a mythical. It's a legendary. It's a mythical. Personally, I think mythicals are legendaries, but I get other people would disagree with that. So take from that what you will. Victini is a fire psychic type, and it hits very hard either way. It's a mythical Pokemon, and its psychic fire typing is going to be annoying. So I've got certain things prepared for it. Escavalier. This thing's very slow but extremely bulky. This thing was pretty much a nightmare to prep for, but because of what I got prepped for it, and the fact that it's just pretty easy to deal with if you prep for it right, we should be good for it. I've got a certain Pokemon that everyone knows about that should just be able to smack this thing in the forehead. Main worry is if they bring like Focus Sash against our Ogapon, we hit it, it goes down to 1 HP, then it just hits us with a Mega Horn. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if my opponent did that. Next you got Keldeo. I hate this fucker. I'm not going to say I don't, I absolutely hate it. You know how much I hate this Pokemon, worst Pokemon in the game. It being next to Haxorus of all Pokemon, my favourite in the game, is kind of sucky. But Keldeo, its ability annoys me, its moveset annoys me, its competitiveness annoys me, and just generally, its aesthetic annoys me as well. Especially Resolute, it's way too over-designed. But, okay, so, Keldeo. The reason it's so big is because we specifically don't have many answers to it, from what I could see. Now I'm going to stop talking about it because I hate Keldeo. Haxorus deserves all the praise in the world. This thing is an absolute unit. This thing is pretty much the sole reason my opponent has won the games they've won. This thing's just been setting up Dragon Dance and sweeping everything with Earthquakes and Dragon Claws. Or Outrages. Outrages too. Outrages if they see a need to run it. I don't think they're going to run Outrage though. Against us because we've got Diancie and 2 Steel types. Next we have Zoroark. Zoroark is normally associated with its ability Illusion, which basically is the last Pokemon in your party it will disguise itself as, which is an annoying ability to say the very least. They've been running the same set on this thing every week so far. They've run the same sets on everything every week so far. Other than maybe Ordino? I don't know. I think they run, other than like Outrage on Haxorus, I think they've run the same set every week. Oh yeah, actually I'm Fusion Flare on Victini. They changed it to Searing Shot because it's a better move. Next we have Bouffalant. Bouffalant is a Pokemon I was worried about originally, because if that thing gets Sword Stances up and starts killing me, I'm going to be a bit scared. But I'm not as worried now that I see what it's done this entire tournament so far, which is called getting killed and getting paralyzed. So it's not that big of a threat, but I think it is a threat. Next you're going to see the biggest Pokemon on here, Serperior. If anyone has used this thing, you know full well that contrary Leaf Storm, Serperior is a pain in the arse. I don't want to fight this thing. Good thing I've got answers to it. Which means, yes, it should probably be smaller because it's only a Serperior. And I got many answers for it. But it could cause me a nightmare if it ends up getting set up. Next, if this thing's Choice Scarf, by the way, and ends up getting a couple Leaf Storms off, we might actually just be fucked. I don't really have a way of dealing with it at that point. Next we have got Electros. Electros is annoying. I'm not going to say otherwise, because it is. Electros is probably one of, if not the most irritating Pokemon on their team, because it has no weaknesses other than maybe a ground type move on Ogerpon, which I'm not running anyway, because it does less damage than Ivy Cudgel, because Ivy Cudgel's really strong. I've got answers to it. Nothing super effective, but I've got a lot of stuff that can switch on it. Now we've got Galvantula. This thing was, to say the very least, not fun to prep for. Sticky Webs is annoying, and it is one of the best Sticky Web setters in the game. Very fast, good Sticky Web setter. It hits pretty hard. My first ever draft league, which is technically not this. This draft league is technically my first proper draft league. I was in an unofficial sort of one at one point, and I had a Galvantula. And that thing was an absolute legend, surviving on 2% health from a +2 dig from a Greninja. And now we're going to have a look at Ordina. Mega Ordina is tanky and annoying. It's just going to stall me out. And I hate stall. You know how much I hate fairy types that have access to Wish and Reflect. They're annoying. I don't feel like getting 6-0 by this fucker again, so I'm going to kill it the second it hits the field. Mienshao, Regenerator, hits pretty hard, fast enough. It's an annoying Pokemon. You'll see it on a random team in drafts. It's always a good thing to pick up, but at the same time, it's not that big of a power player, but it goes really well into some matchups. And finally, you've got Garboda, who is tanky and hits pretty hard. That's about it. Pretty good Pokemon, but not the best in the world. Next up, we're going through the previous notes of weeks that they've had previously. Week 1, they did end up winning 4-0 with a Zoroark lead, which tricked me originally because I thought it was Galvantula. They had Sash on a Swords Dance, and they ended up clicking Sucker Punch a bunch. I think they ended up picking a couple kills up with Zoroark. Sticky Web went out with Galvantula. I think Galvantula was the other Pokemon that died. And then Reflect and Stall from Ordina. It just stalled out the game. It was annoying. It was a very coverage-heavy Victini. This is the only time they've ever run Fusion Flare. The rest of the time they were running Searing Shot. So if you see a reference to Victini, it was also running Searing Shot. It was just spamming it. Week 2, it's a Keldeo lead, surprisingly, which there's hints to why in Week 3, why they would lead Keldeo. It was a Carmine Keldeo set with Aura Sphere. Dragon Dance Haxorus really sold the game for them, and it was Thunderbolt Victini with Searing Shot that was just spamming. Main reason I only note down Thunderbolt is because it's good to know the coverage. Keldeo being the lead in Week 3 is because of Flip Turn, which is probably why it was in Week 2 and Week 5. It seems their leads most of the time are Zoroark, Victini, or Keldeo, which is quite annoying because my lead I'm planning on going for is good against Zoroark and Victini, but really not Keldeo. So that kind of stinks. Keldeo's like the one Pokemon I don't want to fight against my Pokemon. Okay, we'll go through Week 3. It was Light Screen Ordina. I think there was Dual Screens Ordina at one point. I swear there was. I think I wrote it down at some point. Sash Zoroark, yeah, it was the same Zoroark set. They were Sticky Webbed with Galvantula late game, and Earthquake Haxorus finished the match. Week 4, Zoroark lead, Carmine Keldeo in the back with leftovers, surprisingly. Sticky Web's Galvantula, Dragon Dance Haxorus, and Degleam Victini. Week 5, Keldeo lead, Dazzling Gleam Victini, Scarf Haxorus, Sticky Web's Galvantula. There wasn't much to know. I'm not gonna lie, there wasn't much to know about that game. Same with Week 6 and 7 for that matter. Also, I did find the dual screens auto notes in Week 7. Both of which were Victini leads, both of which had Searing Shot. This game had Dragon Dance, Haxorus, and Swords Dance, Zoroark. And both had Wish Ordina, Sticky Webs, Galvantula, Carmine, Keldeo. They're going to try and set up on us, and probably try and throw down some Sticky Webs with Galvantula. I don't know if they'll bring Ordina against us, I couldn't tell you. So, our team is starting right out the gates with Robin. Robin is our choice Scarfmon, and is a specific answer to a certain V-headed fire type. Robin very much so is there to outspeed a Scarfed Victini or Keldeo and do a bunch of damage to it. It's 252 special attack, it's a boring EV range. It's running Mystical Fire for a Scavalier, Dazzling Gleam, just Haxorus exists, Psychic for Keldeo, and Shadow Ball for Victini. It's specifically here to deal with exact threats, which is why it's not wearing a crown this week. Otherwise it would be wearing a crown. So that is Robin. Robin, I think, could pop off a little bit this week, but not too much. Fujitora is wearing a crown. I don't know why the screen's that colour, but it might just be me. It's running Air Slash, Heavy Slam, Rock Slide, Flamethrower. Everyone... I don't like running two different ways of attacking. I don't like running mixed attackers. But this time I have no choice because I needed both Rock Slide and Flamethrower. Flame Charge wasn't cutting it. And I needed Air Slash in general. I think this set's probably the best I can bring. I needed Air Slash for Keldeo, if I'm being honest. And I needed Rock Slide, I believe... What do I need Rock Slide for? I need a Rock Slide for Galvantula, if I remember correctly. I prefer for it to not be a 1v1 with Galvantula, but still I think Rock Slide's worth bringing anyway. We're bringing Assault Vest, and it's our answer to Haxorus, Ordinary, and Keldeo, because duh. Keldeo still does quite a bit of damage, which is why we're running Assault Vest instead. This thing's really just here to sponge hits, and I think it could do that very effectively this game. Next we've got a Nell. A Nell is making its appearance again, being one of the most reliable Pokemon on my team. Having Thunder Wave, Air Slash, Thunderbolt, and Volt Switch. Yeah, this thing's just here to kill Keldeo. It's also here to deal with Serperior and Galvantula, which could be very annoying. Honestly, the main reason I chucked this on my team is because I looked and I saw that I had no switch-ins to Galvantula other than Crocodile. Crocodile is weak to Bug, so it was not an answer, because if they predicted me to switch in, which they probably will, they would just click Bug Buzz. I don't care about them clicking Bug Buzz into an L because we resist it anyway. And they really get no coverage for an L at all, so we can kind of just do whatever the fuck we want. We're running Expert Belt so that we can 100% pick up a kill on Serperior. I think it was Serperior that we were wondering about. It might have been, or it might have been Galvantula. I cannot remember off the top of my head what it was during Calcs. But it was needed so that I would Urk or something. It might have been an AV Keldeo or something. Ace. Ace is obviously our kill leader. It's an Ogerpon Hearthflame. It's just clicking Swords Dance and nuking everything. If I get an opportunity to set this thing up, I will set it up and kill everything. Obviously, like, it's a sweeper if there's no webs up. The main thing that's annoying for this is Keldeo. So if Keldeo's dead, Ace can just come in and sweep. Which is good. Also, if Keldeo is... Even if Keldeo is running Air Slash, we still tank one, and we still kill it. So it's another answer to, guess what, Keldeo. Which I think it's going to be Scarf Keldeo against us, and if it's Leftovers Keldeo, I don't fucking care. Magellan. It's another Assault Vest Pokemon. I love doing self-inflicted item claws, but this time I've just not done it because I can't risk it. We're running Rock Slide for Galvantula, Gunk Shot, Knockoff, Drain Punch, Poison Touch. It's just here to be annoying. It's just a wall, and it's our main Ordinary answer, realistically. Like, this thing's just here to kill Ordinaries. And I think Magellan could do pretty well this week. But now we've got our main Pokemon this week, who has not made an appearance for a while. Nami the Diancie. Nami the Diancie could really pop off this week. I do not know why the Leftovers is where it is. I put it in the right place. That does say 128 attack. So, Nami is wearing a crown. Very much so more deservingly than Telestealer. This thing is going to be a sweeper potentially because of Diamond Storm having a 50-50 chance to boost defense by 2 stages. Plus we do a bunch of damage in the process. It's also a Stealth Rock setter. Probably our lead. I don't know why I didn't write that down. I guess since it's not 100% our lead because Keldeo exists. And I'd prefer to preserve it, maybe. I don't know. I still haven't decided. I need to see their team first for deciding leads and stuff. Otherwise I might just lead Ogerpon. So we are bringing Body Press, Stealth Rock, Diamond Storm, Player Rough. bringing a physical set this week, mainly leaning into body press with defense buff, and it deals with everything other than Keldeo and Serperior, realistically. Which, if we're set up enough, I just stay in and kill Serperior anyway. And Keldeo does not, in fact, one-shot with Surf, which is what it's run so far. Even with 252 special attack, Modest, and Choice Scarf, which I think is probably the most likely thing they're bringing. Otherwise, they're probably bringing Leftovers, which is stupid. I don't know why you'd bring Leftovers against me, which is why I don't think they will. So guys, I will see you next time. Have a nice time. Goodbye.